for this computer. So there you go. I'm gonna go and create something a bit more curvilinear, maybe next to whatever objects. I'm gonna do a level 2. And maybe in this sitting area, there could be a round ceiling with a recessed light behind it. So what I'm gonna do is go to the ceiling plan, create a ceiling here, as we have done in the past. Instead of doing a ceiling by I think the work plan is set. Maybe change the working plan. Let me see if I put it back to where it should be. Okay, I'm going to do a sketch ceiling, not the one that understands rooms. Remember, there are two of those options. I'm going to do a circle. I might need an underlay here, so I'm going to just close that for a second and go to the underlay so I can see the furniture underneath. So remember the underlay, it's found under the views. And you can say any of the views that you want to see here. So level 2, it shows the furniture. That again is grayscale, so you can't really transform it or anything, but you can see it, so you can produce your ceiling wherever you want it to be. So sketch, circle. Okay, so that's your ceiling. I'm going to go to that section, flip it, and see it. And that is thin lines. This is the one. No, it cannot be. This is the one. I don't want it so low. I want it above the window. So I'm going to change that to like maybe 10 feet, maybe 11. Okay, there you go. So now I can go to the view and see on the other side. I'm going to do another camera. Okay, so that's working. Now you have the ceiling here. I'm going to change the type of ceiling to be a digital wallboard, so it doesn't have any subdivision. And I want the lighting that is hidden behind and following the curve of that ceiling, which I think it's important. So I'm going to do it in the 3D. I'll go down to the 3D box so I can cut it into different pieces and see it. There you go. So again, above this element. So I need to do my own shape, a shape that is particular. So I'm not going to be able to find a light fixture with this exact, diameter or radius. So I will need to do a model in place. Okay, so as a model in place, I will need to say what it is. So that would be electrical. So it would be actually lighting fixture, no? So there you go. And as a lighting place, you need to give it a name. So something like lighting behind ceiling 1 or something like that. Everything's going to tone down, as we know, and then you just have to create an object that you can assign a particular material that will throw light into the scene. So extrusion would be the ideal way for this particular case. I'm going to select, so I can select the circle there. Probably taking this who knows where over there, so we need to change the working plane first. So I'm going to say pick plane, pick that plane, and then pick the line, and there you go. So now we have it exactly where we want. There's one half of the circle. We need to pick the other half. And then I'm going to do an offset because I don't want it exactly the lighting to start at the edge, just a little bit inwards. So I'm going to do offset. And I'm going to press tab to select the entire circle and delete this one and another offset. So now that I can say, okay, this could be the bigger it is, the more light you have. The important thing is that you can create a form that you can then assign a particular material, and that will be under material. Create a new material, rename, light 1. And again, under the asset browser, you can search for all kinds of materials, and you have also the interesting materials that they're lighting. I think under miscellaneous, you have this type of lightings. Here you go. And I think there should be other options. There you go. So I'm going to use this emissive material. That will be quite intense, 1500 lumens, but you can go to 800 depending on the intensity. Double clicked, came in, say okay. So that's going to already give us an amount of light. So then you can go to the last view we created. Say okay. Notice that you see it there, so it's actually quite a big of a monster. So it's not that much of a recess, but we can get a sense of how this is going to be looking. I will do a fast one here so you get to see how it looks. You can see the light there. That's quite aggressive. So what I would do is lower the extrusion element, and it would probably throw the light upwards. I would also, as always, check that the rendering quality is set properly, because I think it's exterior sun only. It's actually interior sun and artificial, so the lighting will play an important role. Let's see how that looks out. There you go. That's the feature. Again, that lighting is probably a bit too much. So you can always just go edit in place, select this element and take it down a little bit or whatever it is. Or you can adjust that height. You can do that by editing the extrusion or doing the extrusion end a little bit smaller. Say 2, or even 1. It's going to give light no matter how small it is, but you don't probably want to see it present there. It is there, but it's not really visible as a line, no? So that's the definition of the recessed lighting. Interior. So there is. You don't see a light, but it's a recessed lighting behind the ceiling looking upwards. Okay, so you can do that with any shape. If you have a ceiling that ends up in a corner detail, you can just step back the ceiling component and add a little object hiding behind the ceiling, and you can do those type of approach. You can change the color of that light by going to the material editor, going to the light and actually changing. Either you can do the color here, so you can set that color to be a different one. There you go. So I'm changing the red. Maybe the red is too much, but whatever. Who knows what price you're going to be doing in the future. So that could be a nice touch for some of your interiors. See how that looks. There you go. So the light is kind of orange feeling. So you can put any color whatsoever you feel you like. Okay. So that's one. I wanted to continue in Revit and talk about how we actually create this diagram of furniture pieces that each of them have a different color in a diagram. So that's a tricky one. So what I'm going to do is start with a 3D, and I'm going to use our example here. Okay, so I'm going to hide a couple of things. Let's imagine this is more or less a diagram that I could hope for. Why not? It looks quite nice. You could show like the different furniture pieces and you can tell the story of your project. I could have done the top floor transparent. Anyway, we can see ceilings, furniture. Maybe some of the ceilings could be hidden. That's okay. It's not what it's meant to be. And then the question here is, how can we assign to different furniture pieces in a diagram different colors, no? Because what I can do is assign diagrammatic colors through visibility and graphics, which is V, no? And I can go to furniture or to any other thing, floors or whatever. And we've talked about this a couple of times, but if you want the projection surface pattern to be, for example, a particular color, like a fill color in magenta or whatever it is, you can apply that, and then all of the furniture pieces will be in the same color, no? Which is interesting. Why not? It kind of shows a little bit of a potential diagram here of all of the furniture pieces are going to be highlighted in color. But in the panel number, I believe 3, I'm saying, could you identify each furniture with a different color? And that's where the thing gets a little tricky. So there are a couple of ways to do that. One is through the materials and to assign to different materials, to different furniture pieces, one material that then you can change the graphics. But that forces you to assign almost a holistic material to every single furniture, which is kind of ridiculous. So there should be another way to do that, to do this kind of a diagramming of the same category, but with different colors. And that's under visibility and graphics. And what you need to do here is to create a filter. The last tab of visibility graphics is filters. And here you can create as many, let's call it sub options of visibility in graphics. And this is again a bit more advanced, so bear with me. So you're gonna add an element of filter here, and you're gonna say the rule base. You're gonna set it again. So you're gonna say edit new, and here's where you set the rules of what is it that you want to do. So you're gonna create a new one, and you're gonna call it filter furniture in color or something like that. You understand what is it that you're trying to do. So you're going to be using this element and you're going to be affecting furniture. So that's the thing. And you have to set the rules here of how you want to affect them. And say that in furniture, a particular tab in your properties is going to say something. For example, I think there's a change one that makes sense. Maybe comments here under comments. And if it says comments equals, example, red, red, let me see how that works. Okay. Then you select this one. It appears as a new visibility in graphics here. And then what this is doing is that I'm going to be able to change any furniture piece. Let's select this one, that under comments, it says red. So if I write red, and it has to be written exactly the way you wrote it in the filter options, you're going to be able to say now, visibility in graphics filters, that all of those in red, I can change here and say pattern equals red. We're not the best example, but there you go. That's a one. So it's a little bit of a tricky thing because you're going to have to do a filter for each of those changes of color, no? So you can edit this one, by the way, now and say red, or here you can change add rule, and you can add as many rules as you want. You can delete the rules, and then you can create as many of these different options. Okay, so I can add another one and then say filter, and I can say green, and it could be based on the same one, or you can just do another one, say furniture. So under comments, if it says equal to green, then I can say okay to that, add it, filter green, and it appears there, no? So that means that every furniture that has the green word here will be affected by that filter. So I can go to the filter again, and under green, change that to green. Okay, so that's the way you do it. It's not an easy one, and I mentioned that it's a little bit of an advanced thing, but changing visibility in graphics options through filters is not an easy one, but is a powerful one. And you don't have to see it only as a way to affect diagramming colors, but in general, if you want to hide some types of floors and not other types of floors, depending on when they were constructed or when they were, or the type of materials that they have, you could always create your own filters to do that type of operations, okay?